Good morning, everyone. This is M4J, and today we're going to be looking at the Tiger P, my favorite Tier 7 heavy tank, right behind the AMX M445, if not my favorite heavy tank of all time. So I really do love this tank over the Tiger, especially. I feel that it's got more armor, not quite so much better mobility, but it does have that same gun, but we're going to get into all that in just a second. I really do like the Tiger P much better than any other heavy tank I have played so far. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the statistics here. Equipment. What equipment would I run? Well, I'm going to go with the gun rammer. I want to increase my DPM because it has really good DPM already, but I'm going to be brawling with my Tiger P. So I'm going to run the gun rammer, the improved optics so I can actually spot for myself. These two, the improved modules and the defense system, doesn't really matter. Just take your pick, whichever one. Then I'm going to go with the enhanced gun laying drive so that my gun won't have to sit there and aim quite so long. Because while the Tiger P has really nice accuracy, the aim time, yeah, it's not so great on that. So I'm going to go with the enhanced gun laying drive. I'm going to also increase my hit points because an extra 6% of hit points, that's 90 extra health. As opposed to whenever you're running the enhanced armor, which only increases your armor by 4%, and what is the maximum armor of Tiger P is like 200 millimeters, and 4% of 200 is 8. So I don't think 8 millimeters is really going to help you out that much, especially, well, really it won't help at all. So I'm going to go with the improved assembly. Again, the engine accelerator, because that will increase all of my mobility statistics, not just my turning speed. And I want to go with the vertical stabilizer, not because, again, the refined gun, while your accuracy is already pretty good, the vertical stabilizer makes it so that you don't have to aim quite so long, and also you'll be able to hit those shots on the move much easier. Because whenever you're brawling, you're continually wiggling around trying to get those bounces, and if you have to sit there and aim rather than being able to hit those shots while you're moving, it can be a severe disadvantage. So, statistics. It has pretty good health, 1,590. While it's not quite the best of all the Tier 7 heavy tanks, it's still not too bad, coming in at 6th place out of 220, or not 200, out of 22. The firepower has good DPM, 2,412. Penetration is really nice with 203, tying with the Tiger. Damage, not that much, about 220, but the DPM is really nice. With the reload time of 5.5 seconds, you're really going to be able to pump out that damage. So we're going to scroll down here to see the next one, gun handling. The base aim time is not that great, and this is even with all those provisions already, equipment already set up. Although the dispersion, it's again tied with the Tiger for first place best accuracy at 0.308 meters. And on the move, it's not that bad either, especially when we've got that vertical stabilizer equipped. It only has 6 degrees of gun depression, which is somewhat of a disadvantage, but it will work. It's not 4 degrees, it's not 5 degrees, it's 6 degrees. Well, so again, it's not great, but you can make it work if you know how. Turret traverse and hull traverse is not that great. It is slower than the Tiger 1, with only a top speed of 35, but I feel that it gets up to that top speed a little bit faster than the Tiger 1 does. It just feels like a much better brawler, which is what I prefer to do in my heavy tanks than the Tiger 1. So let's get into some of those replays and show you how I like to play my Tiger P. So we have 3 ace games for you here today. This first one from Potato9, more commonly known to you guys as the F1 God. This is his alternate account, and I believe, if I remember correctly, this was his very first game in the Tiger P, and he is platooning with another Tiger P as well. So he is on Hellas, and he has gone over to this side here, trying to side scrape it a little bit, backing out here, see if he can get a shot on that Tiger. Unfortunately, he is unable to go through. So he's going to start pushing forward with his platoon mate, or his platoon mate starting to push forward here. He's trying to get a shot off, but unable to get it on that Tiger 1. So he's going to start pushing down in the dip. And while pushing in the dip isn't exactly a great thing to do, sometimes it will be able to change the game if you're able to flank around there where the enemy is least expecting it. And that is pretty much what he is going to do here. And while he only has 6 degrees of gun depression, he is going to make it work as well as he can on this ridgeline. So he pokes up here, going for the Tankenstein's track, gets a nice round into the Tankenstein, but unfortunately the Tankenstein does fix it right away, bounces that shot off, and now he needs to be careful because he is pretty much surrounded. The FV301 could drop down behind him, and that would pretty much be a very bad thing that could happen. If the FV301 did drop down behind him, then the rest of the enemy team would be able to rush, and they would be absolutely gone. So that you do need to be careful about that in the dip. But enough about the dip on Hellas. We are watching the Tiger P here. So he pushes forward, takes out the Annihilator with the little ram, gets a nice bounce from that Super Pershing, but he does need to be careful because the Super Pershing, well, it's a tier 8 medium tank, obviously, has a better frontal armor profile than he does, and he also has more penetration. So he does need to be careful about that. But he has the DPM on him. He's trying over here, and clearly this Super Pershing is not the greatest of players. Either that or he's just lagging. But he does put a round into the top of the Super Pershing's turret, bounces another round from him as well. He's just sitting up here, face-hugging, wiggling his turret side to side, trying to get a bounce. The Super Pershing actually shoots HE at his side, and he's going to just keep going forward, trying to get his gun down, gets a nice 275 max roll there, bounces another round from the Super Pershing, and is able to shut him down with the next shot. So he's going to turn to this Jagdpanther 2 here, puts a round into his side, and shuts him down as well. But so the Tiger P, one thing I really love about it compared to the Tiger 1 is even though its frontal armor thickness is supposed to be more, the Tiger 1, while it does have a better frontal armor profile overall, the Tiger P, it can be very troll if you know what you're doing. He has already bounced 2,000 damage in this game, and he hasn't even really angled that much. He shuts down the FV301 there with a nice shot to end that round. But he's bounced 2,000 damage, racked up 3,358, and put out 5 kills for another ace tanker or his first ace tanker in the Tiger P. So here this was a game that happened quite some time ago. In my Tiger P, I was platooning with Toto, and he was driving the Smasher, and he completely noobed out, tried to tunnel the AMX 1375, and got absolutely wrecked. So we're not going to worry about talking about how badly Toto did, though. We're over here in our Tiger P, and we are going to absolutely destroy these guys. Now, I believe this was before the Tiger had buffed frontal armor. Then again, I may be wrong, but 203 millimeters of penetration is easily able to go through 165 millimeters of frontal armor. So we easily destroy that Tiger 1, tearing him apart in less than a minute since the battle has started. Poor Tiger being stock, but we shred him, tear him apart, and now we're going to put our nice DPM to work on this Tankenstein. So note that I'm not staying out here. I am going back and forth, trying to get those bounces. While the Tankenstein isn't looking at me, I'm not going to worry about it, but whenever he is, I'm going to be wiggling back and forth, trying to hopefully avoid having my weak spots penetrated by his 130mm gun. So there goes Toto, tunneling the AMX there, getting absolutely destroyed by the entire enemy team. So we're working this ridgeline here, poking our gun out around the corner, and hopefully getting some rounds out here. So we see the Jagdpanzer 4 poking up. We get around into him, but we don't want to remain out because he does have more DPM than we do, but fortunately for us, he doesn't want to know us. So we're trying to get another round there, and we do just that, taking his track off, leaving him immobilized versus our other 2 tanks. But whenever you're brawling frontally in the Tiger P, you just got to wiggle your turret side to side, move around, try to get those bounces as best as you can, because, again, your frontal armor, not great. You do have some very big weak spots, but if you're wiggling and angling correctly, then you will get some very troll bounces, and I'll go into more detail on that in the next game. But so we shut down this AMX 1375 with a nice high roll there. It's suddenly me alone versus this LTTB and the VK36, and that LTTB, very good game there. He jumped that ridge, and our shell goes right underneath him, but he's going to have a good game as well. We're going to wait for him to poke out around this corner here, but unfortunately for me, we are not really going to be able to get any more shots off. The LTTB sets us on fire. We're unable to turn around quick enough to get this VK36, and we get shut down. And what a disappointing game, because our Easy 8 was AFK. If he had not been, we would have been able to win that game. So while this wasn't an ace, it was only a first class, 3,900 damage and 1,112, and the LTTB, he got 3,450 base XP and a Mastery Class badge well, so very fair play to the LTTB. Good game for him, although unfortunately I had to lose with just under 4,000 damage. So now we are on Yukon in my Tiger P, going to base A. On Supremacy on Yukon, base A is generally where you want to go. Going to base D, you're just not close enough to these other bases. You have to drive uphill to get to these. So I usually go straight for base A, let my team cap be, and it usually turns out pretty good. But we see this Yak Panther 2, no idea how that shot managed to penetrate, but it did for a nice 227. So we're going to work this ridgeline here. Again, the Tiger P, it doesn't have that gun depression or that turret armor. But if you're wiggling your turret side to side, keeping your gun in the air, trying to protect that cupola, while you're using that 6 degrees of gun depression, it will work. If you make it work, it will work. But so this Tiger 1, he comes out here. We end up penetrating his side there. He misses our cupola just barely. This Tiger 1, he is rushing, just a complete bum rush at our Tiger 2 and me. I have no idea why he would do this, but we're just tearing him apart. Put on the adrenaline for a 4.5 second reload, and he goes and rams that Tiger 2 on our team. So we take a nasty shot from the Chimara, but we manage to put a round into his top as well. Going for that cupola of his, unfortunately we do miss that round. But we need to be careful. I just realized that this IS-6 has come up behind me. For some reason, he decided to shoot us with the HE. I don't know what was going through his head at that moment. Because you really can't penetrate a Tiger in the rear with high explosive, unless, well, you can't even do it with the T-49. You have to be up to his side, but that's for another day. So we get a nice bounce there from the IS-6. We're going to start pushing forward here, and at this moment, I kind of realize you don't exactly want to go and face hug an IS-6 because it's very difficult to penetrate his front. He comes up and starts ramming us, and then I remember, oh wait, he's got that massive weak spot up on top of his turret. I'll just target there. I'm taller than he is. I can easily hit that spot every single shot. So we put another round into him. He misses. We're going to go for that another round into his top. I do realize that the Chimara is over at my side, but I want to take out this IS-6 first. So I do that. I turn over after taking a nasty round from this Chimara. I need to get fortunate here. He needs to bounce or miss, and that is the only way I'm going to be able to survive this. That was a very bad shot on my part. No idea what exactly that was. We angled just enough, and we get a very fortunate bounce from this Chimara, and we are able to shut him down with our next shot, putting us at our second kill. Only blocked 840 damage, but we managed to put out 4,004 damage on my Tiger P's birthday at that for the first game of the day. So that is all for today, folks. Despite my Despite my ramblings, I hope that you learned something and why I love my Tiger P so much. It's a really good tank, a really good brawler. If you can just get those angles right, wiggle side to side, it's just an absolutely amazing all-round heavy tank. This is M4J, and we are over and out.